Hello, Uncle Ted, your ice cream alchemist here with ice cream every day, and this is black cherry custard ice cream. A while back, a woman in East Texas posted a video about having a lot of eggs on her farm, and I said I know exactly what to do. She asked for a recipe, so this is what I came up with, and this is a very rich custard. Now, I pitted a bunch of cherries. I ended up with about a cup and a half of puree when I was done, but I pitted the cherries, added a half cup of sugar, put them in the fridge, stirred them every few hours for several days. After 3 days, this is what I had. Wonderful juice out of those cherries. But yeah, they were on sale, so I went ahead and grabbed them. But after 3 days, I put them in the blender, gave them a good puree, and made sure that they were broken up because I didn't want big pieces in the ice cream because then they freeze and that's like ice, and you don't want that. So after I did the puree, then I turned my attention to the eggs. Now I used 8 egg yolks. And as I've always said, make sure that you save your egg whites because there are lots of uses for egg whites. Now, with this, I used these egg whites for several things because I had a lot of them, and it worked out very well. Once I got those eggs yolks ready, I added 3/4 of a cup of sugar and I went ahead and mixed that up. What we're doing here is we are basically emulsifying and adding volume by adding air. So what'll happen is this egg and sugar mixture will actually almost triple in volume because of all the air we're whipping into it. And what we're looking for here is, and you'll notice the color change, it gets much paler, and it'll be ribbon stage where we can draw a ribbon on top of it. And that means we're done. Then we can turn our attention to the dairy. 2 cups whole milk, 2 cups heavy cream, 1 cup whole milk, and then half a cup of non-fat dry milk, and then we whisk that in. And then after that, we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of creme fraiche. Now you can substitute sour cream if you want to, but I prefer creme fraiche just because, well, it's easy to make. Really, creme fraiche is the simplest thing in the world to make, and so I enjoy making it and using it in a lot of different things. But I wanted a tang with this to offset the sweetness and the richness of the custard, and having creme fraiche in there actually does a good job of that. So once I add the creme fraiche, I go ahead and incorporate that in. Once the dairy and the creme fraiche are hot, then we can turn our attention to getting the eggs tempered, and that's a process in itself. Tempering eggs is important because we want to make sure we bring the temperature of the eggs up so when we add them to the cream, they don't automatically cook. We don't want scrambled eggs, so we have to slowly bring the temperature up by adding our hot dairy bit by bit and then mixing it the whole time. And it takes some practice, but once you get the hang of it, it works very well. And this is important whenever you're making a custard. So bit by bit, I get that added, and then once I get it added, I put it right back in the saucepan because we want to bring it up to 165 degrees and hold it there for at least 1 minute to kill off all the cooties. Now, the other way you can look is to see if it coats the back of a spoon, and I've demonstrated that before in other videos, but basically it's the same thing. Now you want to make sure that you keep stirring because this sticks so incredibly fast. So you have to make sure that at this stage you are constantly stirring. And you'll start to whip in some air and it'll start to foam up a little bit. So try to be careful of that because the foam will go down, but it just gets to be kind of a pain in the butt. Now, after you get it off the heat, the first thing you want to do is, number one, don't stop whisking until it's time to pour it into your sieve and strain it. So you want to make sure you get all the bits of cooked egg out there if there are any. I didn't have any on this. It went in pretty smooth, but I always strain it just in case. And then I go ahead and add my cherries as well as my half a teaspoon of vanilla. And now something I want to show you here, I don't use food coloring. I keep everything naturally colored as is. So as a result, the colors tend to be a little grayish, but I'm not the kind of guy to use food coloring unless I'm making mint ice cream because that just has to be green. But for this, I just kept it on natural and it had a bit of a gray color to it. But you know what? black cherries. I mean, that's kind of the color of black cherries, and so that's how it is. Now, I gotta say, this came out amazing. You put this in your fridge overnight, put it in your ice cream maker according to manufacturer's instructions, and this stuff is incredible. I mean, look at this. How can you say no? And it's so rich. This is one of the richer ice creams I've ever made. Now, I want to give a shout out to my cousin Chad. I love your support. Thank you. And remember, folks, if you're not eating ice cream for breakfast, what's the point of being an adult? Thank you for watching, and I hope you get a chance to make this. It's wonderful stuff. And check out ETXgoatwitch's website, or at her Etsy. Thank you.